All right, with all of that uncertainty and all of those very serious questions that Richard raises there, what should the average person do? We've got some news you can use right now, because where should you put your money? A lot of people wondering, and joining us now, financial expert Ty J. Young, who knows a thing or two about this. You know, I've been talking to people all week who've been saying, I'm buying stocks. You know, the fundamentals have never looked better. I suspect a bit of bravado when they tell me that. But what were you doing? Are you buying or not?
Well, let me kind of set the stage. This isn't the market of 20 years or 30 years or 40 years ago. The world has changed with globalization and technology. An event that happens in Japan or in Europe profoundly affects our investments here in the United States. And with governments deleveraging around the world and austerity measures, meaning they're not going to be paying out the same benefits to their citizens. And here at home with Social Security mathematically going to implode at some point, we've got a plan to take care of ourselves. So that really changes how we need to invest.
So do we need to be more cautious? Do we need to be way more cautious about saying, okay, stocks look discounted, let's jump in?
We need to be very, very cautious, and we need to make sure that we understand here that it's not how much you make, it is how much you get to keep. Very, very important. So you need to make sure that as you're planning for your retirement, you're making sure you have money to live on, that you protect your downside. If you're 55 or 60 years old, you should have at least 55 or 60% of your money protected against losses. If you want to speculate with the rest, that's okay, but at least have that baseline covered.
It depends on your stomach for it too, right? I mean, if you're younger, if you can stand it, if you've got a longer time horizon, maybe you're okay, right?
Well, that's exactly right. But the closer you get to that retirement age and the closer you get to that time when you start to need to draw money, the more protected your money is going to be, or needs to be. And you can still make a reasonable rate of return while having your money protected against losses. That can be done.
Yeah, I'm so glad you raised that. We had a story just earlier in the newscast before you came out here. A woman, 66 years old, who's still working, fears she can never retire, says she's still in stocks. And I'm watching that thinking, 66 and wanting to retire, maybe you ought not to be in stocks.
Oh, that's exactly right. I thought her guitar playing was awfully cute as well. I did.
Okay,
I did see it. But yeah, it is. At 66 years old, that is a time where maybe you don't want to take as much risk. Maybe you want to protect your principal and get a reasonable rate of return instead of speculating.
What's the biggest concern moving forward? Is it the risk of renewed recession, ongoing recession, double dip recession? Is it the unrest in Europe? Is it all of the above? What is it?
It's certainly all of the above. All the different factors, as I said to begin with. It's a global market, and different things around the world definitely affect our money. So what I would say is control what you can control. If you don't want to lose money, don't have your money in a place where you can lose it.
Yeah. Curious your thoughts, Ty, on how this differs from 2008, because we hear from some people on the show as well saying, you know, it just feels like that again. It feels like these crazy ups and downs. Is this the same kind of situation or very different now?
To me, it's very different. If you look at what happened with the debt ceiling increase and the deal that was made there, the market then reacted. Then we had S&P lower our rating for our debt. That was certainly a blow to the markets, but the Treasury actually got stronger as a result of that. So it doesn't look the same and it doesn't feel the same. And now more than ever, it's important to be very, very careful that you protect your principal and get a reasonable rate of return.
Yeah. Are there any sectors in particular that you like right now? I mean, we talked about financials in the U.S. having been beaten down. We've talked a lot on this program about, you know, what some call a bubble in emerging markets. What do you like?
Well, if you're going to speculate, you can speculate on energy right here, consumables, consumer goods. But I tend to lean towards protecting the money. And a way that you can do that, at least domestically, is in a product, a guaranteed insurance contract called an index annuity. I don't like all annuities with my clients, but I like this one because you can go up with the stock market, lock in your gains, and when the stock market goes down, you don't lose anything. That's a good alternative if you don't want to take the risk.
Not available in every country, though, right? That's a U.S. instrument.
It's in the U.S. and other places,
well.
not all around the world.
What about dividend plays? I mean, what about some of the stocks that pay the dividends?
Utilities. Utilities are a defensive position. It's never a bad idea to take a defensive position. Not bad there. You could speculate on oil as well if you wanted to do that. But again, at the end of the day, you've got to measure your own risk tolerance and ask yourself questions like, how much risk am I willing to take? And then a follow-up question to that would be, how much of my money am I willing to lose?
Right.
Almost everybody says none. And if you're not willing to lose money, you shouldn't have your money at risk. And you can still get a reasonable rate of return. That's the part that's very important to recognize.
Understood, if you put it in the right safe instrument.
Right.
All right. Where would that be, just real quick?
Well, the index annuity that I just mentioned just a moment ago is one. A bank is, or banks are another place.
Under the mattress is another.
I'm not so sure under the mattress is the best place, but or in treasuries. So banks, treasuries, and guaranteed insurance
People
contracts.
rushing to treasuries at a time like this.
No
All
doubt.
right, Ty, thank you so much. Ty J. Young, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This is Keith Whitney. Tonight we wanted to rise above all the politics and talk to the people who were truly affected by the unemployment crisis. So we brought together a diverse group of viewers here to the station to watch the speech with me and to give us their reactions. And each one of them had a different take.
I think the president missed the mark, and I think he missed the mark because what he talked about was spending more money. He operates from the premise, in my view, that the government creates jobs. The government doesn't create jobs. The private sector creates jobs. And what we need to do as a country is create an environment where the private sector will spend the money that they have and create jobs.
He has tried to spend money to try to bring this economy back to life. Some jobs have been eliminated. Mine was one. But if they don't work together, it's not going to work. If they continue to fight him, like if they continuously fight him on every turn that he takes, then it's not going to get back together.
The key points I really liked was the tax cuts for small businesses. We need to go that way as far as we can go, whether it's capital tax savings, from a tax return, whether it's tax cuts hiring people, tax cuts with payroll taxes. Those were key things that I really liked. But then coming back to spending. Once again, it's stimulus reformed into another creation.
I was there when we made a lot of money in real estate, and I was there when the bubble burst, and we're still standing. So I think that he doesn't have any bad points that he made in his speech, but I think that he should have went a little bit further in talking about job creation.
Several people have hit on it tonight. We shouldn't be Democratic, we shouldn't be Republican, we should be one America, and not wave the flag because the Democrats did this or the Republicans did this. It's because we did this as a nation. We overcame this.
This jobs plan builds on a program in Georgia.
Now the president's singling out Georgia.